Hello and welcome to the Bethany Christian Services live Facebook. Sarah and I are here today to talk with you about domestic foster care. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Carly Racklowitz out of the Bethany Holland office, Holland, Michigan. And this is Sarah. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, hi Carly. My name is Sarah Blomling-DeRue. I work with Operation Forever Family, which is an intensive teen child-specific recruitment program here at Bethany in the National Office in Grand Rapids.
Awesome, wonderful. My role at Bethany in Holland is a foster home licensing specialist. So what us foster home licensing workers do is we kind of take families, potential families for foster care through the foster home licensing process, which does take about 6 months, give or take. And we walk with families, answer their questions, get them prepared, set up with training, all of that good stuff. So today, Sarah and I would just love to talk about some myths that we've come across in our experience with foster care personally and in our professional lives. So one of the things I was thinking about on the way over was this kind of myth that there is a perfect model of a foster family. I get people saying to me, well, I'm retired, I'm too old, and other individuals who say, I'm a single parent or I've never parented before. Honestly, Sarah, in my work as a foster home licensing worker, some of the families that I've been most impressed with have been the ones that are single parents doing this for the first time, because I've seen in them this willingness to learn, willingness to be adaptable, to ask for and receive help. And I think those are the things that make a successful foster family, rather than your home and all your children being perfectly behaved or your home being spotless and beautiful and elaborate. It's those things, the patience, the willingness to learn, the willingness to love a child unconditionally and in a really hard spot. What would you say to that?
I agree, Carly. Let me echo that. And I work with teenagers specifically in Operation Forever Family. So I often see where a single parent is actually preferable sometimes for our teens who may have been abused by one gender or the other, and honestly do better in a home with whatever gender they're more comfortable with, and they're sort of the center of attention. So I would really encourage people who you think maybe you weren't married and that's not the right time to consider foster care adoption of an older child. I think sometimes it's the best age. And as well, like you talked about, folks who maybe are hitting middle age and even beyond, we have found that often empty nesters are fabulous resources, especially for that preteen or teenage years. And can you just give? You've done this already, and you've done it well, and you know how to launch a child. Could you adopt a 16 or 17-year-old and give them a couple years, help them to get those skills they need to go to college or trade school or whatever their heart's desires. And sometimes they have the time and the energy and the knowledge, the wisdom to give to a child who may have a traumatic background and bring some special needs. But we work really hard at Bethany with trauma training and making sure parents are equipped. And we're here to support you in the process.
Very true. And I think too with, I'm thinking about our teens or our 16 or 17-year-olds that are waiting in a residential facility for a forever home. There's this idea that, well, if I adopt them at 17, they'll only be with me for a year. And so that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so, and I get that to an extent, but then you think about our kids, every child in foster care has experienced trauma. Every child, even just the process of being removed is traumatic. A lot of our kids are emotionally behind. They might be developmentally behind, and they have needs of a younger child. So while you might have a 17-year-old in your home, that doesn't negate their need for a nurturing, loving parent. So often what I find, and maybe you would agree, that a 17-year-old that's adopted isn't just leaving at 18.
That would be very rare. I think you may
who's ready at 18 to leave?
You may be looking at more the 24 to 25-year-old kind of launch. Although sometimes they're ready and they're mature and they want to launch younger, but a lot of times they just need that extra stability, in order to be able to launch, because there's a lot of anxiety even with kids who have not been through trauma when you get around to that launching
I know age. I wasn't ready at 18 and I needed that family support.
And we have kids who are aging out of the system at age 18 with no skills, no supports, nobody to even know how to make a doctor's appointment or get a prescription refill or get car insurance. All those things that we as young adults needed from our parents to truly launch. They don't have that. So we really have, I would say, a desperate need for families willing to open their heart.
I agree.
To older children.
I agree. So thinking about other myths as well that we've come across, this relates with what we've already been talking about a little bit. I think there can be an idea that foster kids are kind of bad or rowdy or disruptive, and you know that's one that's hard for me, because when I think about being in a child's shoes that's gone through the trauma that they've gone through, I think I might act out a little bit too, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Honestly, what we see is the behaviors we see are not willful disobedience, which sometimes the world interprets as that. It's more of what we call a survival reaction or survival instinct. Right. And so we learn and we train families how to deal with these triggers, how to avoid triggers, how to sometimes ignore smaller things and fight the bigger battles, right?
Agreed. Agreed. And that's very true. And we do provide that training and support. So if you're listening to this thinking, what's trauma and what do I do with that? There are ample opportunities for trauma trainings. Each branch will give you those opportunities and would really help you look at children with a trauma lens, meaning that instead of looking at their behaviors as willful disobedience, saying there's a need here that needs to be met, and how do we help them meet that need in a productive way that's not disruptive.
Carly, I run across a lot of people who think doing foster care or even foster care adoption is super expensive. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I get that a lot because, and I know that you'll have different videos about international adoption and maybe domestic infant. There is cost associated with those programs, but Sarah, in domestic foster care, there is no cost. So you're not paying me as the licensing worker or as the agency to get a home study created if you're in the state of Michigan here. And then foster parenting, there's no cost associated. In fact, you're given a small stipend to help it offset some of the costs of foster parenting. And then if you take it all the way to foster care to adopt a child, you will continue to receive some help financially until the child is 18, as long as they meet some criteria.
What about, I know I think about this, and I know dads in particular think about this. What about medical care, medical insurance? What about college? How could I launch another child through a college career?
Right. That's a great question. Our kids in Michigan have Medicaid insurance, which covers everything. It's great. That's dental, that's medical. And for our kids that are looking to go to college, I'm actually working with a young lady now who's going to college soon. I'm very excited. There are programs through lots of our schools in Michigan. There's the tuition incentive program that is given for children at certain schools that are eligible because of their Medicaid coverage. And there's also other programs that at different universities that give scholarships specifically based on the child being in foster care over a certain age.
That's amazing news. That's great
It's
news.
wonderful. And if you have more questions about that, you can let us know. We are going to wrap this up, but we thank you for your time. We wanted to let you know that if you have further questions, please feel free to comment, to contact us. The web address is bethany.org/fostercare. Once again, May is National Foster Care Month. So please stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for your time.